It was a cold February day. The warmth and lights of the holidays were far behind us as the world sloshed through snow-filled sidewalks, hunting after discounted Valentine's Day candy to bring home. The 1980 Olympics had just started, where just a few days later, the U.S. hockey team would defeat the Soviets in what would become known as the Miracle on Ice. The year ahead would be a rocky one, ushering out John Lennon and ushering in President Reagan. The year before was tiring. 1979 was the year of the Unabomber, the Iran hostage crisis, the Greensboro Massacre, the Riverfront Coliseum stampede. Americans were in desperate need of a higher purpose, something larger than themselves to cling on to for even an iota of salvation. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Isaiah 9:6.
And all I've got to offer is sensitivity, intelligence, and charm.
Rizzo the Rat made his entrance into the world on February 15th, 1980. Featured as one of many rats following around the special guest star that day, Christopher Reeve, during episode 418 of The Muppet Show.
I'm game for anything. Boy, I tell you something, this is quite a phone booth. How about that, huh? Nice. Okay. Oh, listen, if anybody calls while I'm out, take a number, I'll call back. Super Rat, you're in charge. Super Rat?
I was gonna say something like, Rizzo was fathered from the loins of Steve Whitmire, which, when I was writing this, was when I realized maybe the bit has gone too far. Rizzo the Rat was a lot of things to a lot of people. To puppeteer and early Muppets collaborator Steve Whitmire, he was a son. To the rest of the world, he was a wise, crackin', gonzo-lovin', I said what I said, pizza-eatin' rat from Jersey. Rizzo takes his namesake from Ratso Rizzo, Dustin Hoffman's character in Midnight Cowboy, a washed-up con man who befriends a naive sex worker in New York City. Midnight Cowboy was the only ever X-rated film to win Best Picture at the Oscars. There's your fun fact. Rizzo was initially a recurring, often scene-stealing background character who sometimes would hang out with Dr. Teeth in the Electric Mayhem. In fact, it took 4 episodes with him appearing for his name to even be mentioned. But despite this name drop, Rizzo still primarily sulked around the background, waiting for his big break, his moment, his blue fuzzy boyfriend alien thing. Now, our intrepid rat did enjoy some time on the silver screen before his big break, appearing briefly in The Great Muppet Caper in 1981, and then taking on a more tertiary role in The Muppets Take Manhattan, which is the best film ever made. It is bonkers. Go watch The Muppets Take Manhattan. It's on Disney+. In 1984. Sorry, I got excited about The Muppets Take Manhattan. 1984.
Rizzo, I'm back.
Well, it's about time. I can't handle everybody. Well, you can take the weirdos at table 4.
But this was merely the beginning of his climb to the A-list of Hollywood. That came to him on the coattails of Gonzo the Great, when the two officially became a duo act in The Muppets Christmas Carol in 1992.
Whoa, that's scary stuff. Hey, should we be worried about the kids in the audience?
No, it's all right. This is culture.
Oh. Oh, Jelly Bean? I had him in my pocket all along.
From there, Rizzo and Gonzo starred together in many, many Muppets movies throughout the 90s and early 2000s, often taking on the role as the straight men, narrators, the wink to the audience. Muppet Treasure Island, Muppets Tonight, The Muppets Wizard of Oz, and many, many, many late-night talk show appearances.
Oh, hey, Rizzo, relax. Don't be so afraid.
Oh, I've gone way beyond afraid. Right now I'm somewhere between bedwetting and a near-death experience.
The two seemed inseparable, and the world was dancing at Rizzo's fingertips. But as we know, all great things must come to an end. And not every member of One Direction can be Harry Styles. But let's backtrack a bit. Who is Steve Whitmire? Steve Whitmire began his professional puppeteering career in 1976, playing the role of Otis at an indoor theme park in Atlanta owned by Six Flags, for a show titled The World of Sid and Mary Croft, after which he began appearing as Otis on a children's program titled The Kids Show with Otis, very straightforward, on local Atlanta TV station WATL, where he fielded calls from adults and children alike as Otis. The show was a huge success, often receiving more than 2,000 calls an hour, and bringing about more and more opportunities for Steve on the small screen. In 1977, Steve met Carol Spinney at the Southeastern Regional What's this called? The Southeastern Regional Puppetry Festival. Carol took to Steve and recommended him for an audition for The Muppet Show. After an audition for Jane Henson, who was in Atlanta to inspect the Kermit balloon for the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade. Thanksgiving Day Macy's Parade. Goodness. Whitmire was officially brought on and joined the cast of The Muppet Show on March 24th, 1978. He was 18 years old. Gradually, Whitmire became kind of a major player at The Muppet Show, taking on one-shot characters, filling in for Jim when he wasn't available, and acting as the right arm of larger Muppets such as Ralph. Eventually, Steve found himself playing major roles in the Muppets children's show Fraggle Rock, stepping up as Sprocket and Wembley Fraggle. Eventually, Whitmire ended up not only originating the role of Rizzo, the light of my heart, but also Lips, Foo-Foo, and Bean Bunny. After the unfortunate and early death of Jim Henson, Steve was asked personally by Jane and Brian Henson to take on the roles of Ernie and, more importantly, Kermit the Frog.
Took a while for us to decide what we were going to do with Kermit as the family. As just the family involved in that decision of how Kermit would continue and how we would do it.
Brian became president of his father's company, and the family decided that Kermit would live on. Steve Whitmire, a puppeteer who'd worked with Jim for many years, was chosen to take over the role.
It was really funny when I made eye contact with him that first time. It was like he was saying, well, come on, talk, say something. And I just was freaked out. I couldn't do it. So I took the puppet and put it in another room, and I don't think I picked it up for about a month.
Whitmire made his official debut as Kermit, the voice of the Muppets, in A Muppet's Christmas Carol, the self-same film that made Rizzo a star. Things seemingly went well for 30 years after that, with Steve, Kermit, Ernie, Bean Bunny, and of course Rizzo enjoying the easy life of celebrity. But then, a blindside. Maybe. On July 2017, toughpigs.com, which is quite the name for a website, released a statement from Disney announcing that Whitmire would no longer be with the Muppets, and longtime puppeteer Matt Vogel would be taking over as Kermit, beginning with a Muppet Thought of the Week video. And Matt is doing just great.
Come on! Hey, Kirby, who is the most amazing girl in the universe? Yes, Piggy, you are! Yay! Guess who wrote that? I did!
So, wow, right? 40 years with one company, 30 as the leading player, and then just poof? Just like that? What happened? Like with most conflicts, it depends on who you ask. According to Whitmire, it came down to a classic case of creative differences and union negotiations. But that's not the truth, now is it, Ellen? In Disney's statement about the situation, they claimed that Steve was difficult to work with and unable to take criticism. Brian Henson even commented that he was surprised that the breakup took this long to happen, given Steve's historic unprofessional behavior. Simply put, Disney and the Hensons claimed that Stevie was a bit of a diva. Meanwhile, Whitmire claims that these issues were never brought to his attention before he was let go.
Steve Whitmire joins us. Good morning to you.
Hey, how are you guys?
I'm sure that wasn't easy to watch. You'll get your chance to respond. But let me just
Sure.
you played this role for 27 years.
Yeah.
You got a call last October.
Yes.
What went through your mind when they said, we no longer want you in this role?
Well, I was stunned. It seemed like there was about 5 minutes of silence. I'm sure it wasn't that long, and I just immediately trying to get answers. And I had no advance warning on that. You know, nothing had ever been framed to me as a career-breaking problem, you know.
It's all a lot of he said, she said. But to be honest, and it really pains me to side with Disney on this, I think Steve was probably the problem. So they recast Kermit. But come on, seriously, there had to be better options. I'm sorry. And moved on. But this isn't a video about Kermit. It's not even a video about Steve Whitmire. This is a video about Rizzo the rat. Since Steve Whitmire's departure from the Muppets, the world has seen very little of Rizzo. His speaking role seems to have died with his creator's career. Nowadays, he's primarily making silent background cameos, with the exception of Disney Junior's animated reboot of Muppet Babies, where he's still a recurring primary character. Nice. Or he's slinging pizza at Pizza Rizzo's at Disney World's Hollywood Studios, which ironically opened in November of 2016, really shortly before the rodent's disappearance. As far as the Rizzo-Gonzo duo act, there seems to have been a divorce. And even more painfully, Gonzo seems to have moved on. Now usually joined by Pepe the Prawn, as seen in the most recent Muppets Haunted Mansion special.
Wait. Listen. Oh, there's somebody there. What? Oh.
Gonzo, you cheating bastard. As of the writing of this video, Disney and the Henson Company have announced no plans to recast Rizzo, leaving fans to fear that he may end up like our dear dead Bean Bunny. Justice for Bean Bunny. And with the world how it is now, seemingly on the verge of apocalypse, with citizens more alienated than ever before, the people are once again craving something bigger, something larger than themselves that they can look to for guidance. Don't you think it may be time to bring the rat back? Hi Hi guys, thank you for watching this video. I do have whiskers, they're just very subtle, they faded a lot, sorry. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you give it a like, leave a comment, give me ye old algorithm boost. If you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe. Crazy. And if you want to support the channel, there are links to my Patreon and merch down in the link tree thing in the description. Honestly, it would mean so much to me if you became a patron. It helps out so much. I've been trying to save up for a new camera for a while now, but I'm trying to use earned money for that, so it goes a long way. If you did not like the video, I don't know what you want me to do about that. Bye. To the rest of the world, he was a